We continue with our discussion of Second Act by Henry Oliver. This is the fifth part of our interpretation. Today, we'll wrap up the book, and this final session is again about a key idea. Let's start with a parable from the Bible. Do you know where the word talent comes from? Originally, it was actually a unit of currency. The exact value is hard to say now, but roughly, 1 talent was equivalent to a silver coin. Once upon a time, there was a master who had 3 servants. Before going on a long journey, the master entrusted each servant with some silver coins. 5 talents to the first, 2 to the second, and 1 to the third. He told them to make good use of these talents and then left. When the master returned, he found that the first 2 servants had invested and traded with the coins, doubling them. 5 became 10, 2 became 4. But the third servant, fearing he might lose the coin and be punished, had buried his 1 talent in the ground, saying he had kept it safe. The master praised the first 2 and punished the third. The meaning of the story is, if you are given a resource, be it wealth, ability, or opportunity, it's not truly yours to keep. You are merely a temporary steward. Your job isn't just to avoid losing it. It's to actively use it and make it grow. Later, talent came to mean natural ability. Talent isn't something you create. It's a grace given by God. Therefore, you should make the most of it and give back to the world. To have talent but leave it unused is to neglect your responsibility. Western civilization has 2 major roots: the Hebrew Bible and ancient Greek philosophy. As it happens, Greek philosophy also has a concept related to talent. Areté, Greek,
Areté,
which means realizing your potential to the highest level. Aristotle's teleological theory says everything has a purpose, telos, and the purpose of human life is to achieve happiness. What we often call eudaimonia. And how do we achieve eudaimonia? By practicing your areté. The areté of a horse is to run fast and carry a rider well. The areté of the eyes is to see clearly. And human areté? It's to bring your unique capabilities to full fruition. The beauty of areté lies in its flexibility. It doesn't mean any specific ability. You don't have to be good at math or become a philosopher to fulfill your areté. Whatever your gift may be, if you can fully realize it, that's areté. The areté of a warrior is courage in battle. For a philosopher, it's the pursuit of truth and wisdom. Areté doesn't even need to involve specialized skills. It could be courage, a sense of justice, or cleverness in navigating society. If you can use your gift to create real impact, you're living your areté. This mindset is quite different from ancient Chinese thought. Confucius respected individual abilities. In the Analects, his students each had distinct personalities and talents. Some suited to military command, others to diplomacy, some to governance, and some to teaching. Confucius affirmed them all and encouraged their development. But later Confucianism, especially under the Qin dynasty's bureaucratic system, led to the homogenization of talent. Civil service exams became the highest pursuit. Sayings like, of all professions, only studying is noble and learn skills to serve the emperor turned individuals into mere tools. The ideal was to become a servant of the emperor. Even in Confucius' own time, ancient China didn't emphasize individuality the way the Greeks did. We speak of virtue and talent, but always with virtue first. People were expected to fulfill societal roles first. Sons must behave a certain way, as must fathers. Social needs came before individual growth. A Chinese scholar from the Qin era, upon hearing about areté, might scoff. Or might feel excitement. So life can be lived like that. So, self-realization really means realizing the self. That constraint may have come from the hardware limitations of agrarian society. But today, it's different. The modern world needs all kinds of people. Especially those who are creative, unique, even a bit odd. China doesn't need more human tools. It needs your unique talent. Modernization begins with human liberation. It means people live with greater freedom over time. Until recently, most people followed a 3-stage career model. First, a learning phase in youth. Then decades of work. Finally, retirement. Learning happened only in your teens. During the work phase, you were expected to work hard during the day and relax at night, saving for retirement, when you'd focus solely on rest and leisure. This model is becoming outdated. In 2016, economists Linda Grattan and Andrew J. Scott published The 100-Year Life: Living and Working in an Age of Longevity. They argued that if people are living to 100, the learn, work, retire model no longer works. You can't do the same job for 60 years. Not just because you'd get bored, but because the job may vanish. You'll need to learn throughout your life. And you'll get more chances to discover your talents. Grattan and Scott envisioned that people would spend their 20s in a period of exploration, trying many things before choosing a career in their 30s or 40s. They might change careers, take on freelance work, and eventually retire. Based on this idea, someone proposed a more detailed model, illustrated below. Youth is dedicated to study. Young adulthood is for exploration. Then follow multiple periods of work interspersed with transitions for further study or exploration. Even in retirement, people can take on side projects as hobbies or community contributions. Throughout this process, you must accumulate more than material wealth, like property, stocks, and savings. You also need to build intangible assets, like your reputation, personal brand, and especially your skills. The modern world rewards those who achieve personal eudaimonia through their Areté. The 100-Year Life pairs well with another idea: the happiness U-curve. It's a well-known pattern. Decades of global research shows that happiness across a lifetime forms a U-shaped curve. In your teens, you're carefree and curious, so life feels happy. But as responsibilities grow, happiness declines. Midlife, with its heavy burdens, caring for both parents and children, managing work and family, can be overwhelming. Your body may weaken, your view of the world may darken, and you might start to question the meaning of life. On average, people hit their lowest happiness point around age 50. The good news is that after that, happiness tends to rise. By your 70s and 80s, if you're healthy, you might be happier than you were as a teen. Of course, this is only a general pattern. Different countries vary. For instance, Finns seem happy throughout life. In China today, children face academic pressure from kindergarten. Landing a 996 job is tough even for college grads. Middle-aged people are worn out. Only in old age, when responsibilities shrink and rights expand, does some relief arrive. People joke. Energetic old folks, lifeless youth, half-dead middle-aged. The key takeaway: most people go through an unhappy phase in midlife. Some experience a midlife crisis. Some don't. But they still aren't happy. Henry Oliver's insight is this: if you're going to feel unhappy anyway, you might as well face a crisis. Because a crisis can trigger active transformation. Combined with the rising part of the U-curve, it can launch your second act. Let's end with a story from the book. See the chart below. It shows how many successful projects an architect completed each year of his life. This man was born in 1867. He made a strong debut at age 20, and especially in his 30s and 40s, produced many works and became famous. Then came his first midlife crisis. In 1909, at age 42, he had marital issues and started an affair. He left the U.S. with his girlfriend, which caused a major scandal and harmed his career. They later returned to the U.S. where he built a studio and home in Wisconsin. But in 1914, a servant murdered his girlfriend and several employees, and set fire to the studio. He experienced unspeakable tragedy and nearly broke down. He was 47. He recovered and produced more work, but his output declined. Around 1930, the Great Depression hit, and his projects stopped entirely. By then he was 65. People thought he was finished. Compared to modernist European architects, his style seemed outdated. He was nearly forgotten. He was in debt and struggling. What would you think in his place? Now let me tell you who he was. Frank Lloyd Wright, 1867 to 1959, the legendary American architect. That earlier chart only shows the first half of his career. His full career looks like this. It was after age 68 that Wright's master phase truly began. Half of his work came in the final quarter of his life. His peak arrived in his 80s. He never stopped exploring. He had an intuitive sense for geometry since childhood. After his first midlife crisis, he borrowed from European architecture. After 65, he looked to Japanese influences and developed his own distinctive style, continually innovating with circular forms and spirals. New construction materials like modern concrete finally allowed him to realize his geometric vision. He completed Falling Water in 1935 and the Guggenheim Museum in New York in 1959. Even at 91, a year before his death, he was still drawing hundreds of sketches. But the crisis did change his way of working. Wright had been arrogant and harsh, often rude to collaborators and apprentices. After 65, he learned to collaborate and consider others. In his 70s, he became incredibly productive, once sketching every angle of a project from memory in just 2 hours. If Wright, nearly a century ago, could spend age 65 preparing for his second act, and officially begin it at 68, then what's stopping you? That brings our discussion of second act to a close. There's no DNA test to reveal your talents and assign you a field. You must explore on your own. But I believe everyone has a talent. And in this one life, you can't afford to bury it. That's it for today's content. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
If you feel there is value in this, please like, subscribe to this channel, and leave your thoughts or suggestions in the comments section. Let's grow together and read more good books.